So today it is quite an unfortunate situation where we have a graphic artist and a designer, Fahmi Reza, who was detained allegedly for a piece of satire which he created. It's not my place to comment on the work that he made, but I think the manner in which he was detained, it does call into question whether there was proportionate to what he had done. I think for something like this, which is not a physical criminal activity, perhaps what they could have done was to call him in for an investigation. But perhaps it was also a literal crackdown on what is perceived to be a wider sentiment in especially online. And I don't know whether this is to create a sense of fear in the populace. If it is, I think the circumstances are vastly different from how things were before. I think Malaysians since 2018 have shown that they may not be so easily cowed into submission. And to me, it is better to approach issues through dialogue, through engagement, and understanding differences in a democratic process. So this surely does not bode well, especially when Reporters Sans Frontières recently came up with a report saying that Malaysia dropped 18 places in a year, the worst drop in press freedoms for Malaysia, and compared to all the other countries. And surely this is another black mark. This is another poor entry in our record of whether it's about human rights or it's about freedom of expression. And this may have, hopefully, maybe we can learn something from this. I hope my friend Fahmi Reza will be released soon.
So what do you say about over the past year, the difference between this administration and the last administration? Because the last administration, they put a moratorium on the use of Sedition Act. But over the past year, since the change of the government, that at least half a dozen cases were investigated using the what is your comment on the use of Sedition Act that has been used over the past year? More than half a dozen cases of being investigated by the authorities, which includes journalists, even political members and activists has been investigated. Even students were also investigated by the Sedition Act. So what's your comment on that?
I think this is quite a retrogressive step. During Pakatan Harapan's administration, there was a cabinet decision to not use the Sedition Act. In fact, the Prime Minister at that time, Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, had on several occasions when people were arrested allegedly for whether it's defaming him or insulting him on social media, he requested that they be released. I think what is happening, particularly in the last 1 year since Perikatan Nasional took over, definitely is a cause for concern. What more when it can be used as a tool to quell dissent, as opposed to engage with wider Malaysian society to address the kind of concerns or fears that people may have via their expression of dissatisfaction interpreted as sedition. So I think this is not good for Malaysian democracy. I think the government should reconsider using such a law against its citizens. My greatest regret was not seeing a stronger action during Pakatan Harapan's administration, either to correct the various laws that we have described in the manifesto as being oppressive, or taking a stronger position, I think, on this issue.